Hi everyone, it's Danny. After the video I made with my African Violets collection, some of you asked me how I care for them. And I told you the truth is that my mom is the African Violet guru. She has African Violets for 15 or 20 years. And what I have are some of what she used to have, some divisions, some stem propagations or leaf propagations anyway. But I've talked to her and I asked her to share some knowledge, how she actually cares for them. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna tell you her tips and tricks to caring for African violets and more. You'll see at the end of the video I have some other stuff to show you. So okay, I have a list here, so I'll just start to tell you a bit about how she cares for them. So let's talk about light. She gives them a lot of bright light, bright shade actually. The thing is, they really cannot stand sun, especially the spring sun when they just come out of winter and they're not really adjusted to the sun yet. So spring sun can actually burn all the leaves in a matter of minutes. So I would keep, or we would keep African violets in very bright shade. The brighter it is, the more flowers you'll have. And yeah, but never direct sun because it's very dangerous for the leaves. They can get burnt really, really fast. I don't have too many flowers at the moment on them, but I do have a video with them in bloom, so check out the description and you'll see all my African Violet collection. Okay, water. Well, there's the thing with watering. Everybody goes crazy with water. How much to water them? Should you water from the bottom? Should you water from the top? And I'll tell you what she does. So she keeps the African violets permanently moist, not soggy, because they would have rotten roots, they would rot, but permanently sort of moist. When you see that the medium is starting to dry up, you should give a water to your African violet. Never let it go bone dry, they don't really like that. Now, watering these African violets, she never actually watered them from below because our pots are kind of big, as you see, so she never actually watered them from below and she never had any rotten African violets. But what she does is she kind of lifts the leaves slightly and waters right on the side of the pot here, as you can see, never from the top. And it's not a case of actually rotting the leaves. That's a sort of a myth actually. It's just a case of not getting water in the crown, not letting it stand there. It's just like orchids, to prevent crown rot actually. We never had any, even though some water did get into the crown, but we always keep them in moderate temperatures. So let's talk about temperature. The way she keeps them is in moderate temperature. If you feel comfortable, they will feel comfortable as well. We don't usually keep them in the balcony where it gets kind of cooler. We usually keep them in the house. So as long as you're comfortable, they will be comfortable as well, and you will avoid rotting of the leaves or the crown, because as the temperatures go down, the risk of rotting increases actually. Now I've noticed something. These African violets actually stood in the small balcony that I have, which I didn't try to keep cool at all. So they kind of set in pretty much 30 degrees Celsius temperatures, or even higher in some days, and they kept blooming. They were looking fantastic. So I wouldn't recommend keeping them in these temperatures, but I will just refer to the standard ones. These ones can actually tolerate it. As long as it's not direct sun and it's bright shade, then yeah, for a few days or a week or something, they can totally tolerate it. At least mine do. Okay, so yeah, we've talked about watering them. I told you my mom just waters them normally, just lifts off the leaves and then waters. Okay. So how to regenerate them, because I told you that she has them for about 15 years, the exact same plant, and I think I remember this for as long as I can remember. Actually, I think this is one of the old ones, but it doesn't really look old. So what she does is, as the African violet grows, it will put out more and more leaves, which eventually get pinched off, and we'll talk about that in a second. And what you'll get is gonna be a pretty long stem here, you know. So what she does is cuts the stem, leaves about 3 centimeters of stem, And then what she does, she doesn't put them directly into the soil again. She puts them in water until some new roots appear, and then she transfers them to soil and a pot, actually. So yeah, we've discovered that placing leaves or stems directly into the soil doesn't work 100%, doesn't work every time. And I'm not sure why, so my mom prefers to propagate African violets or regenerate them first by putting them in water until some roots start to appear and then transferring them to soil. This has worked every single time, and the other method with placing them into the soil really didn't work that well for us, at least. So if you want to place them in water first, that's totally fine. They can adapt to soil faster afterwards, and I do have an example, but I'll get to that. Okay, the soil that we use actually is peat moss, preferably. They will do okay-ish in any kind of dirt, but the problem with any kind of dirt is that either it stays way too soggy, either it doesn't really let the roots breathe, either when it starts to dry, it kind of makes a sort of a crust here, so we don't really like it, or my mom doesn't like it, so she only goes for peat moss. And recently we started to put some perlite in it for some more drainage, and they seem to absolutely love it. So if you can find peat moss, that works just fine. She doesn't really do any mixes with vermiculite or anything else. She doesn't really use soils that are specifically made for African violets, because 15 years ago we didn't have that many stuff, but we did have sort of a peat moss, and that's what she uses. What she uses, peat moss with perlite, and they seem to do just fine as long as it drains properly well, it doesn't remain too soggy. Okay, what else do I have here? Okay, when propagating, and I do have something like this here, when propagating from a leaf, you have to, after you put the leaf in water, see the roots, see that it has some roots about this big, then you transfer it to the soil, and some new plantlets will start to appear. You'll kind of have about 2 or 3 plantlets. So when these little plantlets get to about 5 or 6 centimeters tall, then it's time to divide them. Never let them clump up like this. Actually, that's what she says. So yeah, after they get pretty tall like this, you have to unpot the actual orchid. You can pinch off the leaf, and you have to divide this plant actually and try to pot each individual plantlet into its tiny little pot. You can use tinier pots than this actually. We didn't have any, but you can also use bigger pots. Don't go too big, they don't need really big pots, but you can definitely go smaller than this pot, which I have no idea what dimension it is, but I hope you get an idea by comparison. Okay, what else? Okay, how to actually treat them over the year. So first things first, from time to time you will see that they will start to produce these really big and long and not so good looking leaves. Well, from time to time you can definitely pinch the bottom leaves down. I think she usually pinches them every 6 months or up to a year or something like that. So you can pinch them, you can use them afterwards to propagate the orchid, or you can just throw them away. That's good. Don't pinch off any of the upper leaves, only pinch off the bottom leaves just to make it look pretty, because in time they will definitely start to look yellow or have spots or stuff like that. So yeah. And what else? Okay, when they actually are in bloom, when they're starting to finish blooming, what she usually does, she waits for the flower to get pretty dried up like this, and then she just pinches it off whenever she has time. So I'm not sure if this actually makes the African violet bloom more, because sometimes we were lazy, you know, and we let these dried flowers on the violet for some time, and after a while we pinched them off and they still kept blooming. But yeah, to make it look pretty, totally you can pinch it off. Don't pull on it, but pinch it with your fingernails, because if you pull on it, you can actually break the whole stem off, and you don't want to lose the flowers. Okay, and yeah, the flowering pattern usually, for us at least, is every 3 weeks or so they produce blooms. They stay on for a few weeks and then they die off. And after about another 3 weeks, we can see tiny little buds forming once again. And I think I have one with the buds. So that's the actual pattern for us, at least in our environment, which is a temperate environment. And yeah, I guess reblooming the African violets is just a thing of good care. There aren't any other tricks to rebloom them. And if they have bright light and adequate water, they can be in bloom almost all the time, which is nice. Okay, she actually repots them every about 2 years, or every year if she feels that the medium is not that good, that the soil is not that good anymore. Anyway, we repot everything that we buy, just to be sure, because we had some pest infestations in some pots. So every about 2 years she repots them, and they absolutely love it. They do. And regarding fertilizing, she doesn't really fertilize them. I have to tell you the truth. I don't think she ever fertilized them, but because she repots them every 2 years, actually she freshens up the soil, because this soil has a small amount of fertilizer in it and nutrients. So if you just repot them regularly, I don't think it's so crucial to fertilize them. Of course, fertilizing and feeding your plant is always nice, is always good, and I think you can find specifically made fertilizers for African plants. But to tell you the truth, we never fertilize them and we don't have problems. But we do repot our plants regularly every 2 years or so. Alrighty, I hope I covered everything, and now for some other tricks. I know I've made this video before, but I'm just gonna show you again and talk about it again, because it's nice to have everything in one place. So you see these leaves, they can collect quite a bit of dust because they have these tiny little hairs. Now, some people like to shower them and then just remove the excess water with a napkin, and that's a good thing to do, because if you have lower temperatures, you can limit rot. Our temperatures are always warm, so the water just evaporates, but sometimes we do, if we get water on the leaves, we do take it off with a napkin. But the easiest way to remove dust from a leaf is actually with a brush, and I'm using a fan brush from my makeup kit because I never use this. It's so useless. I'm sure it has a purpose, but I don't use it. So I actually use it to clean the leaves, especially these types of leaves. And I'm just gonna clean one to show you the major difference it makes. It will make the leaf look super shiny and ready for a contest. If you have a good brush, it's good. My particular brush is not so good and leaves some hairs. But anyway, I hope you can see the difference. It's really shiny now, and you can totally use this. It's not gonna harm the leaf at all. Now, you have to be careful with these brushes. Try to wash them after each flower so you don't transmit any parasites. Look at the difference. If you know your African violets don't have parasites, you can use it. Try to use this outside because it's quite a bit of dust on the balcony or outside of your house. And yeah, you can actually use wash this brush like you would wash any makeup brush. Just go to the sink, wash it with a little bit of soap or something, and then just try to shape it and let it dry, and it's good to go. You can wash it as many times as you want. It's gonna be just fine. Alrighty, so I have another thing to show you. Oopsie. So, okay, I have another thing to show you. Now, we're not too big, or at least I'm not too big, neither is my mom, on finding out the exact names, the actual names of these African violets. I'm sure they would have some names, but these one are just grocery store African violets, standard phals. Did I say phals? I might have said orchids along this video quite a lot, but I really didn't realize it because I'm too used to orchids, so sorry. I really don't know what these African violets are. They're just standard African violets, but if you like African violets a lot, well, I'm gonna give you a link into the description to a girl here that actually sells African violets, and she has a beautiful, beautiful album with a lot of African violets that I never actually knew it existed before. They look spectacular. Now, of course, you cannot buy from her unless you're from Romania. But what you can do actually is try to find out the names, because everyone or most of them have names. And if you have an African violet nursery or a specialized store where you are, you can actually see the names, and if you like something a lot, you can go there and ask them if they have this particular variety, or you can order them online. So the way to do it is just visit her. Ariana is her name. Scroll down. She has a lot of plants actually. Scroll down just to the bottom, and then you will see this list with Violette Africane. This is how it's read. It's just African violets in Romanian, and you'll see them alphabetically. So just click on one of them. I clicked on E, and you will see everything that starts with E, their names, their varieties. They're absolutely stunning. They're beautiful. If you have the space, if you love them, they're amazing, I must say. But as I understand, these ones are kind of more fussy than the standard ones. But if you know better, then that's great. So yeah, I'll give you the link to Ariana in the description, and you can just see the beautiful pictures and varieties if you're interested, and also their names. You can scroll through the albums and you know, just see the beautiful African violets if you're interested. Okay, so yeah, this was the video on the African violets. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope it helps. This is just how we care for them. I'm not saying we're experts, they just work. I'm gonna refer here only to the standard African violets, because I'm not sure if the other ones are indeed more fussy or not. Okay, so in the end, I'm just gonna shut down this light because I just really wanted to show you these really cute things I just purchased off of Amazon. They're fake candles, and I just like to keep them there on where the flowers are on the windowsill. They just look so great at night. Hopefully you can see. There you go. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you really like African violets, they're a great plant to have. I like them too, I just don't have space, and I just like orchids more. So okay, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thank you for suggesting this video. If you have other questions that I can ask Mom, then place them in a comment, and yeah, we'll get back to our orchids really soon. If you like what you see, you can subscribe to my channel, and yeah, don't be afraid to leave me suggestions, because I really want to know what you guys want to see. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye!